Hey, it's your girl Kim Brooks, and I know some of you guys probably looked at the title like, what? She about to go in on the church? What's really going on? Well, I'm not about to go in on the church like that, but I do think it's time for us to have the conversation, a constructive conversation about the subject. I am an author, I'm a minister, I've ministered to singles for a while, so I get a lot of feedback. And not only that, I've noticed some things myself, even happening in the church or churches, that I feel need to be addressed, because I just feel like it's very important, because a lot of times as a single man or woman of God who desires marriage, most people I talk to, if they're single and over 30, 35, 40, and desire marriage, they feel like, okay, I just knew I would be married by now. What's wrong with me? And oftentimes the desire alone to grow up and be married and have a family and things like that has been planted in us. Sometimes people, young girls from a young age, being groomed to be wives, and young men having, that desire as well. Some young men, things like that, which is fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. The concern is when that expectation is placed on a person so much that it becomes part of their identity, or lack of identity or value, if it doesn't happen by a certain age or a certain time. It's almost like, okay, what's wrong with you? Whereas I believe that God wants us to be, like the scripture says, content whether we're single or whether we're not. I mean, it's possible to be single and still be satisfied where you are in life without feeling like something is wrong with you. So I guess you're like, okay, Kim, what does that have to do with the church? Well, what I've noticed, I'll give a few examples. I remember a young lady, at the time she was about 35, and she had shared with a pastor's wife or first lady that, I guess the first lady asked her, was she dating anyone seriously? And at the time, the young lady said no. Well, the pastor's wife's response was, I need you to press in prayer. I need you to press. So in other words, she basically was telling her she's not praying hard enough, and that something must be wrong. If you're 35 and you're not dating seriously now, you need to go back to the prayer closet and press some more, probably get some fasting and praying in, because something wrong. And the reason I say that that's how I took it is because hearing the tone of the young lady and hearing how she basically was saddened by it, was not edified, was not uplifted, but went away sad, let me know that it was shared to kind of make it seem like something was wrong with her. I'll give you another example. A minister at a church, pastor at a church, if you would see this person, the first thing he does is says, let me see your ring finger. Where your ring finger? I mean, you may have not seen this person for a couple years, and you just happy to see the person, and the first thing out of their mouth is, where your ring finger? And mind you, I'm sure it was done in love. I'm not saying that when people say or do certain things that it's done with ill intention. However, sometimes it can be received in a way that it's almost saying, I'm not as concerned with how you are faring or how you're doing. I'm more concerned about your status, your marital status. And I'll give another example. I attended a service where it was, the name of the message was, why am I still single? It was for singles, and it was, why am I still single? So that title alone is almost like, okay, something's wrong if I'm still single, so why am I still single? Because a lot of singles over a certain age, it's kind of like you do ask yourself those questions. You do get introspective. You're like, okay, Lord, what's going on? What's wrong with me? Why am I still single? So, of course, a lot of singles went out to this particular meeting, and because people want answers, and that's understandable. However, as the preacher went on to the list of different reasons people are still single, I remember one of the reasons being because of sin and living in sin and fornicating, and I'm like, okay. Immediately I thought of some people I know personally, more than just myself, who's not out here fornicating. I was thinking of other people who I know, such as pastor's assistant or other people that I know that are not fornicating. And it's like, but then everybody knows there are some people that fornicate and get married. So what does that say about that? So I guess I said the main reason I wanted to bring this out is for pastors and leaders and ministers to know that it is not a curse for a member of your church or for a person to be unmarried, even for a long time, because number one, not everybody desires marriage. And then number two, for those that desire marriage, it's such a personal experience if you're still single for such a long time and you desire marriage, that you don't want to feel like you're being judged or devalued because of it, because you're already dealing with things internally yourself, you know. And as the body of Christ, we always want to edify, we want to encourage, we want to uplift. And not only that, when you think of the Bible, when you hear about the miracles and the things that were performed by Jesus, his disciples, what do you remember the most? Do you remember who they were married to? I mean, it's all about purpose and mission. Jesus never married. He was born with a mission. And even the ones that were married in the Bible, like Peter, I think they mentioned his wife, you know, Jesus healed her of a headache. But you hear more about the miracles and their works. Now, don't get me wrong. There are wife mentions in the Bible, and there are husband mentions in the Bible. However, there are also single people in the Bible who did great things and were still valuable. The reason I share this is to say it's not like I'm against marriage. Of course not. I believe, since God created marriage, that it is his will, you know, because he wants to produce godly seed. I believe that firmly within the confines of marriage. I firmly believe that. I just think the concern comes when the pressure seems to be on if you get a certain age, because that all the age stuff, that's not in the Bible. That's all society driven, man driven, when it's like by this age, by that age, by this. I mean, I've seen videos and commentaries where in other countries they have kids later in life, 50s, 60s, not, you know, if that's what you desire, that's what you desire. But what I'm saying is they value life, so they don't look at it like, oh, by a certain age you have to have X, Y, Z. They don't limit God, you know, to a certain age. We do that. We say by this age I want this, by this age I want that. Whereas God has a unique plan for each and every one of us individually. When we get married, it's not a collective thing. It's not something that we all come together and we say we want to be married by this age. And then not only that, some people get saved or receive Jesus in different stages in their life. They may not even be mature enough for marriage. They may not even be ready for marriage. They may be a baby Christian. So you don't want to just throw someone into marriage because of a number, because of their age. It's like, well, you just got saved 2 weeks ago, but because you're this age, you need to get married. So the reason I'm saying all of this is because, like I said, I get the feedback, I get the emails, I interact with those that I serve that are single, and I hear it. I hear people being sad, being depressed, being lonely, feeling lonely because they're single. Gotta love the the background. But not only that, on a serious note, I hear about people with thoughts of suicide who feel like because they're unmarried, their life is lacking. Who curl up at night, you know, feeling bad about feeling like something is wrong with them because they're unmarried. But we all know the God we serve, he has a plan, and everybody has a different season to receive things in their life. So I just admonish the leaders and ministers, pastors, be very spirit-led when talking to singles and ministering to singles. Oh, and something else I want to mention. If you have singles events, and I definitely encourage that, I encourage every church should have a singles ministry, even if you just have 10 people. I encourage that, because the purpose should not be a hookup, let's get together, but it should be a fellowship opportunity for those that are unmarried, that are looking for opportunity and ways to enjoy life in this season. And don't have the married people up there announcing it, please. The reason I say that is I've seen married people announce singles events, and the next thing after they say the event, the next thing they say, hey, you might meet somebody at the event. That turns people off. That turns some people off immediately, because sometimes the purpose of going to a singles event doesn't have to be to find your husband, find your wife. Can we just go to have fun? Can we just go to enjoy life with other believers? So I just wanted to put that out there. I just wanted to share that, because I feel like too many people make bad relationship choices and relationship decisions because of pressure put on them, not just from society, not just from family, not just from themselves, but also from the church. And it shouldn't be. Single members of churches are just as valuable as married members of churches. So let's talk about it. Share your comments. I want to get this conversation popping, because I think it's very important, and it definitely needs to be discussed. This is your girl, Kim Brooks. You can follow me online. My website is kimontheweb.com. We are actually gearing up for an upcoming cruise, a singles cruise called the Abundant Life Singles Cruise. While Single, Let's Live. And that is, you can see the link and everything for that on kimontheweb.com. Just click on events. Well, I think it's on the homepage too. So check that out. I got a free books, Singles Overcome. Once you sign up for my emails, that's free as well. You get that ebook. But no, let's talk about this. How do you feel about it? Do you feel the church stresses singles getting married too much, to the point where a single person that's single over 30, something's wrong? Do you think the church helps in the matter or hinders? So let's talk about it. I look forward to reading your comments. Again, this is Kim Brooks. Like I always say, be and stay encouraged.